Simon Ekpa, held at Kilmakoski Correctional Center in Finland, has reportedly been granted conditional or tentative bail and is expected to reunite with his family and loved ones by Monday of next week, triggering excitement among his supporters. A woman named Oluchi, claiming to be Simon Ekpa's younger sister, recently emerged in Finland to sign legal documents on his behalf. However, her true identity and background remain unclear and under investigation. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, legal advisor to Motsi Nnamdi Kanu, Barrister Aloy Edemaker, confirmed the bail development and continues visiting Motsi Nnamdi 6 days weekly at the DSS facility, updating supporters on his physical and legal condition ahead of his federal high court appearance on July 18, 2025. It is no longer news that BIAFRA official currency AMA is trending online, revealing that major BIAFRA figures including Chukwuemeka Odumu Ojukwu and Simon Ekpa are featured on the notes and coins symbolizing their roles in the BIAFRA movement. The BIAFRA government announced a diplomatic appointment head of mission to Vietnam, officially documented with government seals and signatures, showing continued structuring of international relations in Kenya. Nnamdi Kanu won a lawsuit and was awarded 20 million Kenyan shillings in damages for his illegal abduction, which boosted morale among his supporters and was praised by him through a legal team message. Barrister Aloy Edemaker, on behalf of Nnamdi Kanu, invited anyone skeptical of lawyer-delivered updates to visit him directly at the DSS Center, though many consider this impractical due to DSS restrictions and intimidation. The legal team representing Nnamdi Kanu has finalized strategies for the July 18 hearing, including filing no-case submissions based on prosecution witnesses collapsing during cross-examination, and will coordinate global legal support for defense. In a political twist, Bashir El-Rufai, son of former Kaduna Governor Nasir El-Rufai, who had long opposed Peter Obi, surprisingly expressed support for him ahead of a potential 2027 coalition under the ADC party, signaling shifting political loyalties. The anticipation surrounding the possible reunion of Simon Nyoka Ekpa with his family and friends has sent waves of celebration and emotion across continents. For many who have followed the unfolding chapters of Simon Ekpa's legal battle in Finland, this recent development represents more than just a temporary relief. It feels like the opening of a new and hopeful chapter inside and outside the movement for the independence of BIAFRA. His expected conditional release from the Kilmakoski Correctional Center has inspired public gatherings, prayer vigils, and street jubilations, especially among supporters across Nigeria, Finland, and within the wider BIAFRA diaspora. Simon Nyoka Ekpa has been held in the Kilmakoski Correctional Center in Finland for several months. His detention has sparked intense legal, political, and emotional reactions from both his supporters and his critics. Now, news has emerged from credible sources that Simon Ekpa has been granted what legal professionals are calling a conditional or tentative bail, with expectations that he will be able to reunite with his loved ones as early as Monday next week. This news, though still officially cautious and incomplete in the legal language used by the Finnish authorities, has ignited public joy among his followers, who see him not only as a voice for freedom, but also as a symbol of resilience. What makes the story even more intriguing is the unexpected appearance of a woman who identified herself as Oluchi, claiming to be the younger sister of Simon Nyoka Ekpa. According to reports from Finland, she showed up to sign legal documentation that appears to be connected to his bail process. However, her exact identity, origins, and legal standing are currently under review, as Finnish legal systems work meticulously to verify anyone involved in such high-profile proceedings. The sudden appearance of Oluchi and her emotional presentation as family has added a layer of human interest to the developing legal story. The atmosphere in Finland is tense but hopeful. On the legal side, things remain cautious. Finnish legal institutions are known for their precision and refusal to yield to public emotion, even under intense media and political scrutiny. Yet, the possibility that Simon Nyoka Ekpa could walk out and reunite with his family next week has caused a visible shift in public tone from frustration and anger to excitement and expectancy. Meanwhile, in Nigeria, the story of Simon Nyoka Ekpa's expected release is running parallel to another major development concerning the leader of the indigenous people of BIAFRA, Motsi Nnamdi Kanu. The legal advisor to Motsi Namdi Kanu, Barrister Aloy Ejimakar, has confirmed Simon Juku Ekpa's tentative bail development. Barrister Aloy Ejimakar continues to dedicate himself to daily visits to Motsi Namdi Kanu, whom he meets 6 days a week at the Department of State Services Detention Center in Abuja. These visits are more than symbolic. They serve to assess the physical and psychological condition of Mari Namdi Kanu and to refine legal strategies as the date of his next court appearance at the Federal High Court approaches. That appearance, set for July 18, 2025, is being watched by legal observers and BIAFRA supporters alike with deep concern and strategic interest. Motsi Namdi Kanu's defense team, led by Barrister Aloy Ejimakar, is preparing a legal counteroffensive that includes a no-case submission. This decision stems from the repeated collapse of prosecution witnesses under cross-examination, which has significantly weakened the federal government's case. According to legal analysis, the prosecution has struggled to present coherent evidence linking Motsi Namdi Kanu to the charges leveled against him, especially in matters relating to terrorism and incitement. As such, the legal team is confident but remains cautious as they coordinate global legal expertise to support their next move. Back in Finland, despite the uncertainty surrounding the identity of Oluchi, the emotional response from the BIAFRA community has not been dampened. The possibility that Simon Yoko Ekpa might soon embrace his family, share a meal with his friends, or speak publicly after months in detention is giving many BIAFRAns a much-needed sense of hope. Supporters have taken to the streets in cities like Aba, Onitsha, and Enugu to celebrate the news. In Finland, Nigerian and BIAFRA immigrants have begun organizing private welcome gatherings, anticipating that Simonu Ekpa may be permitted to address them directly once he is free, even if his bail conditions restrict international travel or certain political actions. Adding another layer of symbolism to these developments is the rise of the new BIAFRA currency known as a Jima. This currency, recently recognized and circulated within certain digital platforms and pro-BIAFRA communities, features images of prominent BIAFRA leaders including the late Chukwuma Odomiu Ojukwu and Simon Njoku, aka himself. The inclusion of their faces on both notes and coins is seen as a powerful representation of their contributions to the BIAFRA struggle. The currency, while not yet internationally recognized in formal financial markets, carries emotional and ideological weight for BIAFRA supporters. It serves as a cultural emblem of resistance and self-determination, and the timing of its spread coinciding with Simon Naoka Ekpa's bail has only deepened its significance. The BIAFRA government in exile has not been idle during these dramatic legal moments. In a move that underscores its ongoing efforts to establish a global diplomatic presence, it recently appointed a head of mission to Vietnam. This appointment, which was documented with formal government seals and verifiable signatures, represents another strategic step in building international legitimacy. Observers say that while these moves are largely symbolic for now, they are foundational for future recognition. Pro-BIAFRA leaders are building a web of diplomatic representations that could over time make the dream of an independent BIAFRA state more tangible in international forums. In East Africa, another related and emotional event has further stirred hope within the BIAFRA movement. In a legal case concluded in Kenya, Motsi Namdi Kanu was awarded 20 million Kenyan shillings as compensation for what was ruled as an illegal abduction and extradition to Nigeria. The decision came after long deliberations and has been praised by human rights activists who see it as a legal vindication of Motsi Namdi Kanu's consistent claim that his 2021 arrest and transfer to Nigeria was unlawful and in violation of international protocols. The victory in Kenya not only boosted the morale of his supporters, but also gave legal strength to his team's arguments in Nigeria. Motsi Namdi Kanu, though still in DSS custody, conveyed his appreciation through a statement delivered by his legal team. This case in Kenya has made many Nigerians curious about the inner workings of Motsi Namdi Kanu's legal team and the information they deliver to the public. Barrister Aloy Ejimakar, in response to growing questions, boldly invited anyone who doubts his reports to visit Motsi Namdi Kanu in person at the Department of State Services detention facility. While this invitation reflects transparency and confidence, many observers agree that the suggestion is practically impossible for most people given the security restrictions, bureaucratic hurdles, and sometimes the silent intimidation tactics employed by the Department of State Services. Still, the offer was received as a powerful public statement, one that underlines the legal team's honesty and dedication. Legal strategists working with Matsi Namikanu are already assembling a broad network of international legal practitioners to assist in the upcoming court appearance. There is a sense of urgency and preparation as July 18, 2025 approaches. Legal documents are being reviewed. Evidence is being examined with fresh eyes, and several international legal institutions are being contacted to observe the proceedings and possibly participate as amicus curiae. This strategic move reflects how the BIAFRA legal resistance is not operating in isolation, but as part of a global campaign for justice and recognition. Amid all this legal drama and political tension, the Nigerian political landscape experienced a small earthquake of its own. Bashir El-Rufai, the son of former Kaduna State Governor Nasir El-Rufai, made a public declaration that surprised many. For years, he has been known as an outspoken critic of Peter Obi, the former governor of Anambra State and former presidential candidate. Yet in a sudden and unexpected political shift, Bashir El-Rufai announced his support for Peter Obi, hinting at possible cooperation in the future under the African Democratic Congress platform. This shift in support is seen as a reflection of broader political realignments taking place ahead of the 2027 general elections. It also reveals how even long-standing political grudges and rivalries may be dissolving in the face of shared national discontent and a yearning for a different kind of leadership. Back in Finland, the emotional countdown continues. Supporters of Simonu Ekpa, many of whom have campaigned tirelessly for his release, are holding special prayers and community gatherings. Some are preparing a welcome-back event while others are simply holding on to hope that this conditional release will lead to full legal freedom. His family members, though mostly silent in public, are believed to be in contact with legal authorities and are making preparations to receive him. Social media has been flooded with messages of solidarity, welcome posters, and edited videos celebrating his resilience. For those who have followed the journey of Simon Nyoka Ekpa and Matsi Namikanu, these developments feel like milestones in a long and painful journey. They are not full victories yet. Legal battles are still being fought in courtrooms and government chambers, but they are moments of light in what has often been a dark and frustrating tunnel. These emotional victories, even when incomplete, offer the community something it has lacked for a long time: hope. As Monday draws near and the world watches Finland for any official update, many hearts remain on edge. If Simon Nyoka Ekpa walks free, it will be more than just a legal event. It will be a moment charged with emotion, meaning, and possibly history. And while the days ahead may still be filled with court dates, legal motions, and political debates, the sight of a man reuniting with his family after months behind bars could become the image that defines this moment for thousands who have waited too long for justice, freedom, and the simple dignity of home. As the hours edge closer to what many are calling a defining moment in the BIAFRA movement's recent history, preparations on the ground continue to escalate in both symbolic and very practical ways. In several parts of Nigeria, particularly in Imo State, Abia State, and Ebonyi State, community leaders and grassroots organizers have begun setting up local viewing centers, assembling projectors and public screens in town halls, markets, and schools. These efforts are not to witness a political campaign or a football match, but to live stream or receive real-time updates from Finland, where supporters hope to catch even a glimpse of Simon Nyoka Ekpa walking out of the Kilmakoski Correctional Center. To many of them, this is more than just a release. It is a spiritual experience and a reclaiming of pride. In places like Ori and Aba, young men and women wearing T-shirts with inscriptions such as "Freedom for Simon" or "Our General is Back" have taken to the streets in dance. Cultural dancers have begun practicing traditional war and victory chants. Some elderly women have been spotted baking traditional yam and vegetable pies while preparing colonut baskets and alligator pepper, items deeply symbolic in Igbo culture when receiving an important guest. The mood has shifted entirely from anxiety to one of ceremonial jubilation. Many see it as the beginning of what could be a wider international exoneration. The symbolic weight of Simon Nyoka Ekpa's return has not been lost on the BIAFRA community in the diaspora either. In Germany, the United States of America, South Africa, and even as far away as Australia, BIAFRA organizations are organizing intercessory prayers, flag-hoisting ceremonies, and open Zoom video conferences where BIAFRAns can connect, talk, and celebrate this significant milestone together. Some plan to hold simultaneous candlelight processions on the day of his return, especially if he is permitted to speak publicly or issue a video message from Finland. For many, the image of him walking free will not only heal the emotional wounds caused by his arrest, but also validate the countless hours spent in protest, in petition writing, and in prayers. Inside the movement itself, there is also strategic recalibration taking place. Key figures within the BIAFRA government in exile are reportedly meeting virtually to discuss what they call post-reunion leadership coordination. There are expectations that Simon Ekpa, upon his release, might immediately be positioned into a more vocal and visible leadership role, especially given the political weight and attention his case has drawn internationally. Analysts believe that this could mark the beginning of a renewed diplomatic effort by the BIAFRA leadership to reach out to European, American, and African governments, leveraging the moral victory of his release. On the legal side, the court's decision to grant him bail, tentative or conditional as it may be, is a significant step. Finnish law, known for its strict adherence to process and neutrality, does not take political activism lightly, especially when foreign governments have raised concerns. Nigeria's Ministry of Foreign Affairs had reportedly sent diplomatic communications to Finland requesting that Simon Nyoka Ekpa be held accountable for what they allege is incitement against the Nigerian government. That the Finnish court even considered granting bail signals a major win for his legal team. They had argued consistently that his activities fall under freedom of speech and that there was no direct evidence linking him to violent acts committed in Nigeria. Some close sources within the Finnish legal community revealed that the bail was granted based on multiple factors. The weakening of the prosecution's arguments, Simon Nyoka Ekpa's good behavior in detention, and the extensive documentation submitted by his legal team showing he posed no flight risk. Additionally, support from various human rights organizations, particularly those based in Northern Europe, may have influenced public sentiment and applied subtle pressure on Finnish authorities to act more cautiously and independently. There's also an emotional undertone to this entire saga that resonates deeply with those who've been watching from the sidelines. Supporters of Simon Nyoka Ekpa often see him not just as a political activist, but as a symbol of sacrifice. His months in detention are seen by many as an extension of the suffering endured by BIAFRAns since the 1967 to 1970 Nigerian Civil War. For them, every hearing, every court update, every piece of news coming from Finland is tied to that long historical struggle for recognition, justice, and ultimately independence. One cannot talk about this moment without acknowledging the emotional toll it has taken on Simon Nyoka Ekpa's family. While very little has been publicly confirmed about Alici, the woman who presented herself as his younger sister and signed legal documents in Finland. Insiders say the EKA family has been deeply involved behind the scenes. Some relatives reportedly flew into Europe to support him during hearings, and others have been in constant communication with his legal team and supporters across social media platforms. The family, though mostly private, is said to be overwhelmed by the sheer global scale of the support their son has received. As for the Finnish government, it has remained officially silent beyond what is required in court records. However, political analysts believe the country is treading a very delicate line. On one hand, it wishes to preserve its democratic image and commitment to human rights. On the other hand, it must maintain healthy diplomatic relations with Nigeria, a nation with which it shares trade, migration, and international cooperation frameworks. In the end, what has emerged is a legal compromise, release under supervision and conditions, while the broader legal matter remains under review. Meanwhile, the release of Simon Ekpa seems to be reinvigorating another battle, that of information. Inside Nigeria, government-owned media outlets have either remained silent or issued neutral brief reports. However, independent media, online broadcasters, and pro-BIAFRA media platforms are celebrating the moment with full energy. YouTube channels dedicated to BIAFRA activism have seen an increase in viewership and subscriptions. Some of them are running 24-hour live update cycles. They are interviewing lawyers, analysts, friends of Simon Yoku, Ekpa, and former detainees who know the reality of detention and court proceedings. In schools, universities, and marketplaces across the southeast of Nigeria, people are openly talking about this news. Some are watching the events unfold as a matter of curiosity, while others see it as the beginning of a political earthquake that could reshape the Nigerian Federation. There is even talk of political ripple effects ahead of the 2027 elections. Some believe that should the Biafran cause continue gaining legal and diplomatic victories, it could push politicians from the southeast to take firmer stances on self-determination and regional autonomy. Whether that results in a political alliance or a popular referendum is yet to be seen, but the conversation is no longer limited to radical fringe groups.